Man City, they played numerous different lineups, numerous different formations in the Club World Cup. In the first game, if we look at it, they had a sort of a strikerless formation. If you look at Man City's first game, we had Doku over here, Marmoush, Cherki moving into the middle, Foden, Savio, O'Reilly, Reinders, Lewis, Nathan Ake, Reese, and of course Ederson. So in the second game, Pep changed up things totally. If we look at it, there weren't that many dribblers. So we had Guardiola, Akanji, Kusanov, with Gonzalez as the pivot, Gundogan. Nouri was the guy who was providing the width. Echeverry, Haaland, the striker, much needed. Bernardo Silva, and Matheus Nunes. So in the second game, Pep totally changed things up. Bernardo Silva, moving up front, stepping up. So it becomes a sort of a 3-1-6 formation. And of course, Echeverry got himself the goal. So the next game, they moved again to back two with three in the middle. Again, Nouri on the side, but this time they got Doku instead of playing wide, moving in. Marmoush again, no Haaland. Savio also inside. So basically, both the wingers were playing in the half spaces or tucking in, and then the width was coming again from Nunez and Nouri. But another thing was that Reinders and Rodri this time were playing together. So Rodri, he's made that comeback, and they wanted to test out how both these guys do together. Now to the game against Al-Hilal and how Man City managed to fumble it. They started off in 4-3-2-1. Ederson in goal, Nouri, Guardiola, Diaz, Matheus Nunes, Gundogan, Reinders, Bernardo Silva, Doku, Savio, and Haaland. As for Al Hilal, they started off in a 5-4-1, sometimes shifting to a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2 when going in attack. So they started off with Bono in goal, Cancelo, Koulibaly, Neves, Lodi, Al-Harbi, Malcom, Milinkovic-Savic, Cano, Aldaviri, and the Brazilian Leonardo. What we see here is Al-Hilal lined up in this 5-4-1, and Man City are they're playing that high line possession game, and we have this front five sort of a situation. What's going on is that Al Hilal's back five is very compact. So if you look at Al Hilal's back five, it's very compact instead of spread out, and then this is the line of four, and then you got that striker over here. And Man City have this front five sort of a situation. So what's going on here is that Al Hilal, they're basically parking the bus, and we have this 3 versus 3 over here. So there's an overload on this side of the pitch. Doku, he gets the ball, he passes it to Nouri over here. And what Nouri does is that he gets the ball to Reinders, and then he makes that dart right into and makes that run behind the line. And Reinders lobs the ball over here, and so he, then obviously cuts the ball back, and there's a situation over here, and then eventually there's a block, and it ends up in a goal. Why they're saying it was controversial was because when Ed Lurie made that run and Reinders lobbed the ball to him, it hit his arm, and Al-Hilal was calling for a handball. But the thing is, the arm was very close to the body, and so that's why it wasn't really a handball. So in Al-Hilal's first goal, Man City are playing a high line with a back three, and we have this 3-5-2 sort of a situation, or you could say a 5-3-2. So two strikers, and here's Malcom. He gets the ball, and it's against the run of play. So basically, he gets the ball and he starts making a dribble, and so João Cancelo starts supporting him, and we get this run with the two strikers. They make the run. You got the width from here. And Malcom, he dribbles the ball here. And so now everybody is running back. And so once he gets inside, he makes that pass over here. Cancelo gets it and cuts it in. And there's a lot of action over here. And eventually, there's a header right into the goal because the ball was parried. So it's 1-1. And obviously, because Al Hilal went down a goal earlier, they started, opening up and playing a more aggressive game. Had they gone down, had they got the lead earlier, then it would have been park the bus, which is what Inzaghi's style is. That if you got the lead, then you gotta, be as conservative as possible until the other team ends up tying the game. Another problem was that Man City, they've got older players. So you've got Gundogan over here, and so Malcom, he had this. He didn't have a problem weaving out against him, although Gundogan did try to press him, but it didn't work. And so they had a pretty open play over here. Al Hilal's second goal, it was a stunning counterattack. This is the sort of situation it was. It was very, very tight. And so you see over here, they got a back four, then they got a three over here. Man City end up losing the ball. And so we have Malcom here, and we got City with a back two rest defense. And it's very high up the pitch. Like, in reality, it was like midway over here. Uh, so this guy, he's marking Malcom, but he's over here. So Malcom makes this run, and there's a brilliant through ball right all the way across the pitch. And the speed of Malcom is so much. By the time these guys make it back here, it was a solo run and a brilliant goal. So it was just stunning. 2-1, Al Hilal take the lead, and knowing Inzaghi, obviously, as you can see here, the bus was already parked. Now it was going to become a fortress. Another thing that happened was when this run was made by Malcom, he was in his own half, so he didn't really care about these players. They were so up high that he made that early run. Cancelo saw it and he just pumped that through ball because he was in his own half. He didn't have to worry about being offside. So then it was just a chase for these guys, and because Ederson was in the middle of nowhere, so he had to come back. And by the time it was a 1v1 situation, Ederson, he was in place, but he didn't open up his body and move forward to close down that space. And so he did move forward. It was a late reaction. And by that time, Malcom got the shot and just went in. So Man City's equalizer, it was a corner. It was Haaland at the end of it. So that was a pretty simple goal. 2-2. And that's where all the action starts. Now, Al Hilal, they take the lead again. They reply in a like for like fashion. So it's now a corner for Al Hilal. And this time Koulibaly, the big guy, he gets at the end of it. And it's a brilliant header which, goes towards the far post. And the thing is, it was fast, fine. It's very difficult to save, but this is one of the goals I feel that it could have been possible for Ederson. If he reacted quicker, he might have been able to save that. And then yet again, City get an equalizer. So again, it's a front six over here. So they're passing the ball around. It's Ruben Diaz over here getting the ball, moving in. So what they did was basically a few minutes back they subbed Foden on, and at this time you got to remember there's no Haaland; he's on the bench. So once Foden got subbed on, Man City had enough flair here to beat Al Hilal's back five. They wanted six players here, so that allowed Turkey to drop deep, and so eventually, after passing the ball around, he gets the ball and Foden and these guys make the runs inside, and so he lobs the ball, and it was a brilliant goal. So now Man City have an equalizer, but more is yet to come. It's for both teams to win, and what happens is that Al Hilal is not playing that park the bus anymore because obviously they want a goal, and so in the fourth goal, basically you got Man City with the back four, and then another four over here box, and Al Hilal basically have this one guy over here who's gonna make the run, and two strikers and a third guy. So basically a triangle three over here. So what they do is this guy he gets the ball, he's in that square over here. He passes the ball back, and so Al Hilal get this space over here. And before these guys, they're too tired to press now. So before these guys press, this guy over here is isolated. And so lob is made, and so now we obviously have this two versus one situation. And so this guy makes an overlap, and Lodi he crosses the ball in, and so now we have three Al Hilal players in the box. Milinkovic Savic, he gets the header. Ederson parries the ball, and again there's a player taps it in, and that's it. Basically, Al Hilal they get their win. Man City they try to make a comeback. It's not possible because obviously after that everything is just parked right back there. So it was going to be really hard to beat these guys. And why is it hard? Well, look, the thing is, the reason it's hard is okay, fine, Man City, they get the ball over here. Mostly they're trying to get it to Doku. And the thing with Doku is that, okay, fine, he's a really good dribbler, but what he does is once he gets the ball, instead of having that verticality, Man City pass the ball around too much, and it's a slow tempo passing thing. And by that time, everybody's in structure for the opponent. That's what you don't want. You basically want runs in behind, and you want a faster play, vertical through passes. That's not happening with Man City. So they get the ball to Doku, and what Doku does is that first he pauses, has a look, then either he's gonna dribble here or he's gonna dribble there, or obviously he's gonna pass the ball somewhere around here, and they're just gonna start rotating the ball and playing around the opponent's tactics, formation. So, but eventually, so he tries a few from here. It doesn't work out, and then eventually he makes that dribble over here, and he pounds a shot, but it's saved by Bono. And that's why they were unlucky. So what Man City need is they need Turkey is a very good signing. What they need is another midfielder who can give those two balls as fast as possible, and they need to make those plays vertical rather than passing the ball around. That 15-20 pass rule of Pep Guardiola, it didn't work last season, and it's not working again this season. So in order to get the most out of Marmoush or Holland, they need somebody, who can pass the ball, who's a number eight, who can drop deep, play as a number 10 as well, and pump in those through balls. And that's where Holland and Marmoush and these guys are going to make those runs and have better chances because you need to make those runs behind the opponent's line. If you're not doing that, since last season. The tactics, they're not really working. So Man City do need more. I don't think the rebuild is complete. Um, they need to have a look at this again.